Chair Rollins, we are ready to record the meeting.
Okay, well, welcome everybody. I'm calling to order the Port Wineme Water Agency meeting at 4:03. This meeting will be conducted pursuant to the provisions of the Governor's Executive Order N-29-20 and the orders of the Ventura County Public Health Officers issued March 20th, 2020, parentheses, stay well at home order. At this time, City Clerk, can you take roll?
Member Bouchard?
Here.
Member Hernandez?
Here.
Member Perez?
Here.
Ex officio member Jacobson is absent for the record. Vice Chair Dudley?
Here.
And Chair Rollins.
Here. At this point, City Clerk, do we have any public comments?
No, sir. We received no general public comments and no public comments for any agenda items today.
Can I have a motion to approve the agenda for the water agency meeting today?
So moved. Second.
Okay, great. Are there any presentations? Does the board have any? Let's see. No. The consent. Can I have for the consent agenda? Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Chair
Okay.
Rollins, if you wouldn't mind reading, sir, if you wouldn't mind reading the titles of those items on the consent calendar.
Okay, so for the first item on the consent agenda, it's the minutes of the Water Agency regular meeting on February 15th, 2021. And the second item is receive and file the cash disbursement report of February 9th, 2021 through March 8th, 2021. I guess before I get, are there any questions on those two items? Anything that anybody wants to pull at this particular point in time? Yes, Mr. Bouchard.
Chair Rollins, just for the record, I'm not sure, did I miss here? I think it was February 16th meeting, and I think you stated verbally it was February 15th, so just want to clarify that for the record.
I meant to say February 16th if I said February 15th, so adjusted.
Thank you.
So we have a motion to approve and second.
And I'll go ahead and do a roll call vote. Member Bouchard?
Aye.
Vice Chair Dudley?
Aye.
Member Hernandez?
Yes.
Member Perez?
Yes.
And Chair Rollins.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
So now we will move on to the business items. The first one is number 3, the Brackish Water Reclamation Demonstration Facility Operational Report, and that's going to be done by Mr. Villafano, the Director of Public Works.
Good afternoon, Board. Chairman Rollins. This is the operational report for the month of February. During the month of February, the silt density indexes were within the low range, and so the plant operated full time. Our demand this month was 3.18 million gallons per day, which was less than what we used in January of this year. In January of this year, we used 3.4 million gallons per day. Last year, our February usage was more than what we used this year. Last February, our usage was 3.41 million gallons per day. And for the month of February, United Water supplied approximately 93% of our water, and Callegas supplied approximately 7% of our water. Are there any questions?
Any questions from the board? I just had one, and it's a simple one. If the plant is operating 100% of the time this last month, why do we use 6.6% from Colegas?
We use that to meet our peak demands.
Okay. So we've had the report. This is a motion to receive and file. Do I have a motion to receive and file?
So moved.
There's a motion and a second. I guess we take a roll call vote for this too.
Member Hernandez,
Yes.
Member Bouchard,
Yes.
Member Perez,
Yes.
Vice Chair Dudley,
Yes.
and Chair Rollins.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, so we're moving on to item number 4, and that's an update on the implementation of recommendations from the Gannet Plumbing Port Wineme Water Association Facilities Master Plan Report. Again, this is for the report's going to be given by Mr. Villafano.
Right. This afternoon, I'm giving you an update. In September of 2019, the Gannet Fleming firm completed their facilities assessment for the PHW facility on Perkins Road. And they came up with a list of recommendations that they put into the final report. And we're starting to implement these. And 2 of the high priority items that we're working on implementing are a arc flash study. An arc flash study is required by the NEC, National Electrical Code. And what it is we have an electrical engineer come out and along with an electrician and look at our switchgear and all of our electrical equipment, and then make sure that they're properly labeled and they're in good repair. And so that when they're being operated, the people that are operating them have the proper personal protection equipment on. And so I'm in the process of getting a proposal from a consultant, Ken Lucci and Associates of Camarillo. Then another top priority was we have a 500,000 gallon water storage tank. That water storage tank does not have tie downs, and it was recommended that we do a seismic analysis on that. I'm in the process of getting proposals from a couple of structural engineers to do a seismic analysis and give us recommendations for the water tank. And I will be coming back to the board for authorization to award professional services agreements in May for both the arc flash study and the seismic analysis for the water tank. And we'll be starting to come back to the board on a monthly basis to give you updates on how we're implementing this plan and also for funding requests. Are there any questions?
Are there any questions from the board? Yes, Director Hernandez.
Thank you, Chair Rollins. I wanted to know the Gannet Fleming contract is the facilities master plan complete, or you're saying it's in process?
No, it is complete. They completed it, but we're now implementing their recommendations.
Okay. And what was the cost of that contract?
I don't have that at the tip of my fingers.
Okay, maybe you can get it to me later.
Okay, I will.
All right, thank you. All right, that's all I have.
Director Villafana, will there be RFPs for these 2 studies, or is this kind of sole source specialized type work that will be conducted?
These are for professional services. We don't need to send out an RFP. We can select based on competency and professional credentials. Ken Lucci and Associates is in Camarillo. They've done arc flash studies and electrical work for the school district, the college district, the county of Ventura, and the port of Wineme. So we're going to go with them, we'll negotiate a fee, and they'll, based on the scope of work, and then I'll come back to the board and ask authorization to approve that professional services agreement. With the structural engineering, I'm going to be requesting qualifications and proposals from 2 structural engineers. And I want to see their experience in analyzing similar facilities.
Great, thank you.
Yes, Mr. Bouchard.
Just as a side, it's hard to believe when I was thinking about it, I'm like, gosh, structural engineering, right? That thing was constructed back, 1994. We'd just had a huge earthquake and had a lot of structural engineering stuff done. I'm like, my gosh, how quickly time flies. That thing's almost 30 years old. So understand why we're doing the recommendations and probably some of those changes. As part of that, before we move forward with any seismic retrofitting or whatever, we'll get an opportunity to see what those costs are. And the reason I raise that question, or at least I'm hopeful we would, before we move forward, that I raise the question regarding that, goes back to my comments in the last meeting about the long-term lease agreement on the property. And the other piece of that is that tank, when it was originally built, just historically, was about the minimum size that we could get away with to meet fire flow requirements for both the beach district and the city itself. And there was actually in the original operational documents some level that tank had to be maintained at in order to meet the reservoir requirements. So I just leave it out there in that if we're going to make significant investment into that particular tank, that we evaluate the best path forward for our money, both based on long-term lease agreements and whether or not it's still meeting our needs. Some of that stuff has changed, and I just ask that you keep that in mind as you move ahead, Mr. Villafana.
Director, I've been talking to Council Kevin Spalding, and the lease runs through 2036, but I'm asking him, and he felt, and please chime in here, Kevin, that discussions of the lease in real estate would probably be a topic for a closed session, and I'm working with him to bring that to a closed session, possibly in June.
Yeah, that's correct. Any negotiation of price or lease terms would be appropriate for a closed session discussion.
Completely understood and respect that. I think the comment goes to, as we make these investments, just understanding where we're at. Again, if it's long term, right? I just think we evaluate where we're at with the expenditures and making sure. So I appreciate the effort moving forward. Wasn't looking to complicate it. Just want to make sure that we make decisions fully informed as to both short and long term goals.
No, Director Bouchard, I think those are points really well made when we're looking into the future. Director Perez, your mic.
My button does not work right. Sorry about that. So I'm very new to this and a little ignorant, so I apologize for my question, but I was just wanted to further on Mr. Bouchard's. This tank, as he mentioned, was the very bare minimum that we got. So would it be more fitting to possibly think that we may need to upgrade and get a larger if we're going to extend the lease out and put money into retrofitting this or whatever the issues that we have to do to it? Maybe looking at a larger tank. If this is the bare minimum, would we ever need something larger later?
Right now, we would have to, I don't think we're going to need another one at this point. You know, we're working on water conservation, and we do have to look at what our long-term goals are as far as lease agreement there. So they would all have to be factored in.
Okay. I had any other questions from the directors? I just had one question, and that would be, how often is an arc flash study done? And when's the last time that we had done one?
I don't think one was done here. Typically it's done when there's an upgrade to electrical switchgear or a major piece of electrical equipment is added. And then it's required by the National Electrical Code to have that piece of equipment evaluated and how it interties with the remaining electrical switchgear and electrical high voltage components of your facility.
So a recollection to me, were there recent upgrades then that were done that are warranting this to happen?
No, it needs to be done because it hasn't been done.
Okay.
The National Electrical Code, the codes typically change every 3 to 4 years. In the National Electrical Code, one of the provisions in there is that facilities are supposed to have an arc flash study done as for safety. And our facility hasn't had one done. So we're bringing it up to code to meet the changes in the code.
So I'm sorry.
And then if we add a new piece of electrical equipment, that piece of equipment is looked at and labeled appropriately, and it's determined how it interfaces with the rest of our equipment safely.
So as we move forward, is the recommendation to do this type of study every 3 to 4 years, barring any new equipment that comes in? Is there some kind of a refresher course or something that's done every 3 to 4 years to make sure electrical is operating efficiently and safely?
It would probably be done after the next iteration of the electrical code. Typically, the building code, the plumbing code, all the codes are updated approximately every 3 years. They're on different cycles. So we would have to look at the next cycle of the National Electrical Code and see what requirements they have, and also the National Fire Protection Association Code, and see what requirements they have. And then it would be determined if we need to do another one at that time, or if we did add additional equipment.
Okay, thank you. So barring any further questions, there's a motion to receive. I have a motion to receive and file. Is there a motion? Does anybody move? Okay.
I'll move to receive and file the report.
Okay, we have a
Chair, if I could just add one thing in response to Director Hernandez's question. I did find that the contract that was approved for the Gannet Fleming assessment was done in February 2019, and the amount was $52,500.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we have a motion to receive and file. A motion made by Laura, seconded by Director Hernandez, seconded by Director Perez. Can we make a roll call vote?
Member Hernandez?
Yes.
Member Perez?
Yes.
Member Bouchard?
Yes.
Vice Chair Dudley?
Yes.
And Chair Rollins?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
So now we move to the number 5 on the agenda, the Port Wineme Water Agency audit report for the years 2019 to 2020. And that will be given by the Finance Director, Kevin McDonald.
Yeah, what you have in front of you is the audit report that was completed for the fiscal year ending June 30th of 2020. And there was no exceptions nor anything unusual noted on it. So if you have any questions, I can go over any questions you have. But
So does the board have any questions at this point? Okay, so we have a motion to receive and file the audit report. Do we have a motion to do that?
I'll move to approve the Port Wineme Water Agency audit report for fiscal year 2019-2020.
Okay.
Receive and file, excuse me.
Yes. So we have a motion by, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Director Bouchard and a second by Director Debley. We will need a roll call vote for that.
Member Bouchard,
Yes.
Vice Chair Dudley,
Yes.
Member Hernandez,
Yes.
Member Perez,
Yes.
and Chair Rollins.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Okay, so now in the agenda, we're talking about board member reports, comments, and requests for future agenda items. Do we have any requests or comments? Seeing none, we will, do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Do we have a second? So we have a motion by Director Bouchard and a second by Director Perez. The meeting is now adjourned.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank
Thank
you.
you, staff.
Have a nice evening, everybody.
You too.